everyone. I hope you are having a wonderful day today. I personally slept in a little bit too late and didn't get enough sleep last night, so I am lagging a little bit behind. But in other news, we actually have quite a bit of news in the gaming roundup for this week. Everywhere from Gamescom opening night, we have a list of all the games that we can expect on that. We also have a new game that was announced to be releasing in 2025, and it looks really interesting, actually. Myth Wukong also had its reviews that dropped on Friday, which was yesterday, and safe to say there was some controversy that went along with that as well. So we will get into all of that, but if any of it does sound interesting to you, stick around, hit that like and subscribe button if you do like this type of content, as I am pretty new and that does help me grow the channel and get more of this type of content out to all of you. I want to go ahead and start it off with a game that I'm actually really excited for. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you that are watching are going to remember the pretty large phenomenon of an indie game called Cuphead. This was a side-scrolling game and it was indie developed. It was praised for its striking visuals and unique gameplay. Well, we got a new trailer for a game that actually dropped, I think, yesterday at some point, and it is called Mouse PI for Hire. It is made by developers that are based in Poland with Fumi Games and Australian-based studio Playside Studios. It is a black and white first-person shooter with jazz music and unique visuals that are very similar to the Cuphead visuals. I personally think that this is a lot of the creativity that the industry is missing at the moment. I think Cuphead is an amazing game and is a blueprint, as we can see, for a lot of games that are coming now. Like I said, it is a first-person shooter. The movement kind of reminds me of Doom 1 and 2 and kind of the movement of how you walk around, and it feels a little bit more floaty, but I think this game really could take a lot of people by surprise. It doesn't have a release date yet, but there is a possibility that we will see more of this at Gamescom coming up next week. They also have said that they do plan to have a 2025 release date at some point, and hopefully on all consoles. Now, Gamescom has been shaping up for a while to be quite the powerhouse for a lot of games. We've already seen that Xbox has said that they plan to bring 50 to 60 games. Now, Jeff Keighley has given us all a list of the games that we can expect on opening night of Gamescom. This list includes games like Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Monster Hunter Wilds, which looks really good, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which doesn't have a release date yet, but probably expect one on opening night, Little Nightmares 3, which was a surprise to me earlier this week, and I'm pretty excited for, Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero, Batman Arkham Shadow, which I'm pretty sure is that VR game, and Dune Awakening, Marvel Rivals, Squid Game Unleashed, a new game from Tarsier Studios, Civilization 7, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which I know a lot of people have been looking forward to a lot, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, and more. He also said there will be many new game announcements, surprises, and special guests. So quite a bit to look forward to this Gamescom. I think that a lot of the expectations should be tempered. I think that we're going to see a lot of gameplay for a lot of already announced games. Jeff Keighley has already said that there's going to be some surprises, but I don't expect those to be really big. Some of those big announcements could actually come from Xbox and PlayStation in an exclusivity announcement, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But I think that everyone should mostly expect a good amount of release dates to be shown finally that we didn't get earlier this year, as well as a lot more gameplay for things like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Dune Awakening, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, a lot of the big ones that people are looking forward to. Gamescom will be going live opening night on Tuesday at 11 o'clock Pacific time, so if you are interested, I would highly suggest checking it out. Now, back to that exclusive trading that I mentioned a little bit earlier. So this was actually started off on X a little bit earlier this week with a rumor/leak that went live saying that Xbox would have a big first-party announcement that they would have a port over onto PlayStation. This immediately brought on a lot of speculation with a lot of people looking at Forza 5 for some reason, and the internet kind of went a little bit crazy with a lot of Xbox people saying that this game would never go over to PlayStation as it's always been an Xbox exclusive, and a lot of people really excited at the idea of Forza coming over. So you kind of had a mix, but it was confirmed with Jez earlier this week that it will not be Forza 5, but they are hearing that there is going to be some sort of game that is going to move over to PlayStation, and Xbox will probably announce it sometime during Gamescom week. If I had to guess on what game they're talking about, it would probably be one of their less well-received ones. Forza 5 is extremely well-received critically, and it's one of the reasons that a lot of people got an Xbox Xbox Series X. If I had to put my money on one, I would say it would be Redfall, since that one wasn't received very well in the beginning, and they have done quite a bit of work post-launch to get it up closer to where they want it, and so I think that they might be looking for a resurgence if they put it over onto PlayStation 5, kind of similarly to how Sea of Thieves did on PlayStation 5 when they moved it over as well. Xbox has already said that they plan on moving more of their exclusives over to different publishers, so I definitely expect to see more of this happen, but it has been shut down that Forza 5 will be the game that will be moving over to PlayStation. On the other side, it has been revealed that it's very possible that Final Fantasy 16 could be making its way over to Xbox. Now, Final Fantasy and Square Enix recently had their financial meetings, and they were under what they wanted to be for Final Fantasy, and they also mentioned the exclusivity as being part of that. The CEO of Square Enix has already said that they want to move away from a lot of that exclusivity that they have previously done, so I do expect for all Final Fantasies to come over to Xbox at some point, but especially a couple of their newer ones, with Final Fantasy 16 as probably being the most likely. I think that this is something that should be really exciting for everyone, because the Final Fantasy games are really well made and should be available to more people, so that's some pretty exciting news to look forward to, possibly coming within the next couple weeks. In some other exciting news, Stalker 2 got 35 minutes of gameplay earlier this week. You can go check it out over on their channel. It is entirely in Ukrainian, so you'll have to watch it with subtitles, but I would definitely suggest it, as looking at this trailer, it looks absolutely incredible. Now, back at Summer Games Fest, when this was showed and demoed to a lot of people said it did not demo well, and there was lots of screen tearing and issues. From everything that they've showed us from the gameplay footage, looks entirely nothing like that, and this is a mission within the game, they said, within one of the swamp areas. So I think that that 2-month delay really could have been to get this game to where they wanted it more, because on the Unreal Engine, this game looks absolutely stunning, and I think it really could be a gem if they get it right. So I'm all for them pushing it back just a little bit more if that means that we get a much more polished release. And finally, for some news on Black Myth Wukong, we finally got the reviews that have been released yesterday, and they were mostly positive, with a lot of reviewers really praising the action and the elements of the game that they have brought, especially the graphics and the visuals within the boss fights. But the codes that were sent out were all PC codes. There were no PlayStation 5 codes that were sent out, which is a little bit concerning. We'll get into a little bit of why. The reviewers who got the PC codes did say that the final chapter, Chapter 3, had some pretty rough crashes and some big frame rate issues within the game. They also said that that was present in the first and second chapter, but not nearly as common. And this has led to be one of the criticisms, if not the main criticism, of the game. And frame rate and crashes are a pretty big deal, especially within action games and Souls-like games, because when you are fighting some of these big bosses, some of those frames really count and can have an effect on whether you win or lose, and especially crashes. I did watch a review from a person that said that they did have a really tough boss fight in the third chapter, that it did crash immediately after they beat the boss, and they had to redo it all over again, which is just extremely frustrating and is not what gamers want. So this understandably brought a lot of concern for the PlayStation 5 version, since no review codes were sent out, and since it seemed to be having issues on even high-end PCs. Earlier this morning, actually, there was gameplay footage released of a PlayStation 5 version, and as you can see here, I think it looks fine. I don't see any issues, so I'm guessing it's probably pretty close to the PC version. Maybe they just wanted to get most of their reviewers to be the Steam players and PC. I'm just not quite sure, but it looks to be fine. If you are a PlayStation 5 user and do plan on playing this game on that console, I maybe would wait until release date to buy the game in case it has any really bad issues that could be fixed a day or two afterwards. But there also has been some controversy surrounding some of the reviews around Black Myth Wukong, most notably with Screen Rant. They released their review and noted the cons as being a lack of diversity. They mentioned that in their gameplay within the first 2 chapters, they didn't see a single female character, and they also referenced this to a IGN hit piece earlier this year that tried to make out the studio as being sexist when it came down to the translation from translating from their language to ours was just not right and was misinterpreted. So this review was very ill received, and understandably, with a lot of people calling out that this game does have female characters, as that we've seen in the trailer, and they didn't even play the whole game before getting frustrated at a lack of diversity when they haven't seen the full diversity offering. I also think it's kind of sad because a lot of games can be ruined because of forced diversity, and as long as the gameplay is good, I think that that's what should be first. And to dock a review, and they gave it, I think, a 60 out of 100, to dock a review a lot for that reason just seems to be a little bit of an overreaction to something that isn't that big of a deal. I do think that some of the criticism around the game is valid, especially when it comes to performance. We've gotten a lot of games recently that don't perform well on launch, and that just isn't acceptable and shouldn't be, and that's something that gamers and reviewers should point out if that's something that is a problem. Black Myth Wukong is sitting at an 83 on Metacritic, which is very good, so I am definitely excited to check out this game and see it for myself. But that is all we have from this week's gaming news roundup. If you did enjoy the video, please like and subscribe down below. I do also have a video on the new Dragon Age The Veilguard trailer and breaking that down earlier this week, so if you want to look at that, you can go check that out as well. But I hope to see you in the next one, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.